Hello. Hey everyone. Happy Wednesday. Wind Down Wednesday. Welcome back. I am Michelle Wedderburn. I'm going to wait a few. Just make sure you all can hear me in the chat. Make a comment. Let me know where you are checking in from. Let's see. I think we're all good technology-wise. Today, I probably won't stay on as long. Hey, amiga. Hi, April. How are you doing? I'm using my amazing fan, which matches the art behind me from Danielle. She got it in Bali. So this time you don't have to see me fanning myself with paper or plastic. It's so cute. I love these colors. She really hit it nail on the head. I can't speak today. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about costs in general associated with having a business in Mexico. I'm going to kind of do an overview. I'm not going to get into excessive details because the purpose of coming on to talk about it is to encourage you to join us and my talk on this Saturday for Redefining Your Life Abroad. I have a whole topic that's a whole hour or so that's going to be solely dedicated to that specific thing, and it's going to be all the information that you need to know to kind of get yourself started. I mean, that's not going to cover everything and you're just going to get out there and do it, but it's going to be more in depth, more detailed than tonight is, to just kind of give an overview of what's coming this coming weekend, and to just kind of talk about this coming weekend a little bit more and why I think it's super useful for anyone who's interested in either starting their own business or any of the other amazing topics that will be happening on August 10th and 11th with Redefining Your Life Abroad Summit. I will be dropping links in the chat while I'm going through each of the things. So at the beginning of my show, hi Danielle, what's up chica? At the beginning of my show, I'm usually going through everything that is kind of covering and doing the housekeeping, right? And then I'll get into my talk. So that's what we're going to be doing here tonight. And I'm kind of hoping to not be an hour and a half. Of course, if you have questions I need to answer that are not me giving everything away that we're going to do on the weekend, I'll certainly try to get to all of them. But we've been so extremely busy this week trying to get ready for that, on top of all the cool other things that have been coming up. And in addition to that, all my amazing guests as well. The last 3 ladies left today. So I'm going to have a few days before the summit, and then next week an amazing group is coming for Spanish immersion. So I'm very excited about that. But I wanted to just say thank you to the 3 beautiful women who came from Lake Chapala. They own the Sojourner's House, Guesthouse over there. I interviewed them before. So there's Sonia, there's Savvy, and then there's Sunshine. Sunshine didn't come, but one of their other friends came in her place. They were here for a few days. It was beautiful. I'm so excited to post their testimonials, and I was excited to share with them this experience and this journey. So this is kind of really an appropriate conversation for tonight, because they also started a guest house in Lake Chapala. And I think that what's key is, as foreigners coming to a foreign country, Mexico in particular, in my case, to start a business is to really get help from the locals, but also extend your arm to other people who may need the help. Yes, not everything's going to be for free, but I do think that when you have a lot of things and goals in common and same interests, that it's also beneficial to have good karma and to try to connect with people that are going to be able to give you their advice and their input. And, you know, we want to wish each other success, because I just think that that's how our success continues as well. So yes, I'm excited about the summit. Yeah. Yes, Danielle, I am very excited. So Danielle's also going to be in it. We are 6 amazing women with our individual topics. I'm going to start dropping a few things in the chat so I can kind of get to my topic for tonight. So before I do all of that, though, let me just say who I am in case this is your first time coming here. I'm Michelle Wedderburn. I am located in San Miguel de Allende, which is located in central Mexico. I have lived here for over 6 years. I love living in Mexico. I do feel like I've upgraded my life in so many ways. There are lots of videos and conversations with me and other people talking about the things that we love, including the summit that we have this weekend, which is really to share with you ways to survive here, different aspects that you need to know about surviving, not just making money, because that is a big part of it, but just having like the mental state of mind to move abroad, how to prepare yourself for moving abroad, how to prepare your family, whether you're in a family setting or you're single or you're a single parent. That's also one of my topics. A single parent, and also brick and mortar. There's Tracy, she's going to be talking about strategizing and starting a business, in the digital world. So there's so many like amazing things. Lake Chapala, is that the artistry? Yes, it is. It sure is. Welcome, woven artisan. It sure is. So yes, you can catch their testimonial. I'll post it, one of them probably tomorrow and the other a couple days out or the day after. So yes, you can visit their website, and I don't have that in front of me, sorry, and I don't want to go clicking around to look for it and then I'll miss my place somehow. Technology is not always on my side. So in regard to this weekend, the talks that we'll have are really well-rounded, and there, I believe, so many topics that can help you no matter where you are in your journey, and just kind of thoughts and things to consider after you get to your chosen place, if you choose to leave your home country and move to somewhere else. We all live in Mexico, so we're all going to be speaking from our experiences in Mexico, but also our expertise as well, you know, in terms of whatever our topics are. So without further ado, again, that's going to be this weekend. It's the Redefining Your Life Abroad. And just give me 1 second. I want to drop that here in the chat. Let's see. I really do need my glasses. trying to be here and not have them. So we're going to be starting somewhat early in the morning, and I know that I could say it will be early for us probably, but not for everyone. We're kind of doing this based on okay, 1 second, I'm just kind of losing my place here. Yeah, we're doing this based on the East Coast. So basically, here we go, you guys. Okay. Just check out the agenda. If this is something that you're interested in, there will be replays for anyone that may sign up and not being able to watch all of it all at the same time. So all the details are there. There are different ticket tiers and things like that, and all the speakers that will be present talking about the different topics. You can find everything at that link. So please check it out, and if it's something you are interested in joining and doing, please go ahead and get your ticket. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Hi, LaTanya, how are you? Welcome. I saw your message or post today on Facebook about my food and cooking. Thank you. I wish I did deliver to the United States, but no. Okay, so one of my topics will be about, hold on a second, about being a single parent abroad as well. And that topic is definitely for, single moms. I've met quite a few mothers who are single and coming with their children. So I just want you to know that's also doable. Danielle will be giving us a very in-depth, complete rundown of the parenting aspect, details about schools and things like that. I'm going to give my personal experience and opinions, and I'm going to kind of leave the deep details to her. But I will be talking about just why I feel there's such a support system. So I think that's something you definitely don't want to miss if you are a parent, no matter if you're single or not. I think it's really important for anyone with family or children who are underage that may want to come here, even if they're not, they're just interested in coming, just kind of like a good outline of what things to consider, how to integrate all the things that you should consider, not just, okay, the adults made the decision. I think it's really important to really talk to your children about the move, especially if they're teens. I think it's a little bit more difficult. I came here when Micah was 6. So, for him, it was sort of an adventure. Of course, he missed certain things about Florida, but, he was still just coming out of that, age 3 and 4, not really, remembering what happened before age 4 per se, especially because we did so many things in general. But 4 to 6 was not really like a significant time for him to have had a lot of attachments. But I do think the older the child is, that is super important to have more conversations about that. So you can catch a lot of details about this again on the weekend. So sign up. I want to say welcome to anyone else. Okay, that's it. My list. So what else do I have here? Let's see. I wanted to comment on all of the amazing guests who came through for the sabbatical here at Casa Elm this summer. It is officially over. There were so many amazing women who came through, some who stayed really long, some who stayed for, I would say the minimum was a week. It was like 1 week to 2 weeks to 2 months. And I was constant busy, which was great. We just had so many people be able to connect and also unwind, to be able to really reflect on their own personal lives and just kind of kick back and have time to breathe and think about what else do I want to do, or what other things can I do if I decide to make some significant changes. So I wanted to share a little bit, not much, about those experiences, not in details either, but just me kind of being, I think, I'm in the circle, but I kind of get to observe from the outside the growth that I see in a lot of women and the changes that they experience while they're here, the conversations that we have, the connections that they get to make. I really do feel that that's one of my gifts and a purpose, is really connecting people and helping to build communities. And when I say communities, I'm not talking about building a city. I'm talking about building the community we already have, but individual tribes where you're able to connect with people. And I see certain things that people need, and I'll say, oh, you should meet this person, you should talk to that person. And it's just such a beautiful thing to see this growth, and not only in our city, but to see the changes in people when they come here. And it's not something I could have anticipated when I started Casa Elm. It's just something that I followed in terms of my intuition, and believing that this was a space for us to heal and to grow and to do all the things that, we may be have been sitting back in our old places, our old chapters, our old homes, our old countries, cities, and thinking, oh, I wish I could do something, really spectacular for the next chapters of my life. So I believe that Casa Elm is really that space for that. I know I did not quite finish my intro, but I live in San Miguel. Please feel free to check out casaelm.com. All the details about what I do is there. I am the founder of this house, this guest house, boutique guest house. It's been around for almost 3 years. I can't believe it. Oh, knock on some wood right here. Thank you, Jesus. I'm so grateful for all the amazing people who've come through, but I'm also grateful to the staff and team that support me. They are from Mexico and they're amazing. The people that I'm surrounded by, the women that are in my life that have traveled also and decided to live in San Miguel and or be in other parts of Mexico that have been super supportive. So I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate you all. So if you have not yet hit the like button, please do so. Subscribe, okay? It really, really helps and it motivates. So what else did I want to say? Okay, I want to share a little bit more details before I get into my topic, and that is we do have a sabbatical for part of October, I think 2 weeks only in October, the first 2 weeks. I'm not sure if there's availability, but if it's something you're interested in, please just send us a message. Right now it does say not available, but I think we may have one space still available for that. And that's like the 1st of October till the 15th of October. And also there's availability in December and January. So if any of those are of interest to you, please check it out. We also kind of have our 2025 calendar out there as well, okay? Okay, Mas, there's so many things to share with you. And I'm gonna do this every single week, so please bear with me because I wanna make sure I talk about the topics that we have or the events coming. Our meetup is coming in October. That's October 24th through 28th. That's a San Miguel meetup. We still have that one VIP space. I've been talking about it. If you wanna know more about the meetup, I will be conducting a webinar, which is free. I don't normally do free webinars, but I am going to be doing a webinar for the meetup. Let's see, I'm typing it in the chat. Webinar meetup, SMA. SMA is San Miguel, just in case you didn't know that. You can join us, or if you just want to sign up, you can check out more information at this link, which will tell you all about, it will tell you the details about the meetup for that weekend, which will be lots of fun. So please go there to see what's what. Let's see. And then we do have our November relocation tour. I'm just going to drop that here. I think there are 2 spaces left or still available for that. That's a full week of everything you need to know about how to move to Mexico. All the details, yeah. Presentations, you get to explore San Miguel, you get to learn about the culture of Mexico. And these are done by other individuals. I don't want you to think I'm doing all these things on my own, because I am not. Let's see. And I wanted to also quickly share, well, I don't know if Tracy's in the chat. I should have had this. This is completely separate. It's something I'm venturing and doing with Tracy Collins. She's also been on my channel where she's one of the women in our panel for this weekend. And we have Black Blossom. So we're going to be doing a wellness retreat in Mexico. That will be in the state of Oaxaca, and that's happening next year, March 25th through the 30th. And yes, I will get that. I'm a little bit nervous to open another, you know what, I can do it right here. Anyway, the point is that that's also something, that's an event that's coming up. And for anyone that might be interested in that, you can visit my, yes, it's also on my website. You can go to Casa Elm, and on the homepage, you can find the details there. And that's a great place for any female who's interested in, taking a break. I think that it's it's going to be really an amazing experience to have. So here, I just found it, and I'm going to drop it in the chat, and I'll put the date on it, March 25 through 30th, and that's in 2025, okay? And I think I covered everything. Oh wait, one more thing, sorry. Also, November 1 through 3, for anyone who's interested in moving to Mexico, we have our Move to Mexico conference that will be really in-depth info for anyone who wants to really seriously move. I think, so we chose that weekend because of the US elections, but I also think that it's important for anyone to understand, like, if this is really what you want to do, that you really want to make sure you continue to qualify to move to Mexico, because in doing it in a legal way, because every year there's something that changes, and every year the cost goes up, the qualifications change. And I'm talking about, like, if you're on a fixed income, I'm not saying, people don't have the money. A lot of people do. It's not a big deal. This may not apply to you, but it's always going up. When I started the process, I think it was around $1,500 a month, which is like, for a lot of people, that's like no big deal, right? And now I think it's somewhere like $3,500, and this is US dollars a month. And, that cost just keeps increasing, and it's becoming more difficult for people to qualify. And I really think that there are some serious intentions behind this. So if moving to Mexico is one of your, I am definitely going to do this, or I really think I want to do this, and if you're already in a position where you're like, I'm not really sure if I can financially, I say pursue the information, get familiar, and get it done as soon as possible, because, it's just going to keep increasing. I think that because of the cost of living across the globe, things are going up, and Mexico is becoming more, in my opinion, they're becoming more savvy to the fact that foreigners want to come here. And so they're starting to basically filter and weed out people that may be at the lower end of the stick, and they're just going to be like, okay, turning it into a more exclusive kind of scenario. Now, does that mean everything in Mexico costs a lot? No, it doesn't. Things do cost more here, but overall, it's not going to get easier to qualify. And I know they have the regularization program, which I've talked about a lot with not just myself, but other people, specialists on my show. It's just one of those things where I don't think that's going to be around forever. So that is kind of like like a loophole in the system right now. If you've been to Mexico and your tourist visa expired, then you can go and apply for this and get your residency, a 4-year temporary, and then later on get your permanent residency. But that doesn't apply to everyone if you've never been here before. So it's just one of those things where I think it's important for people to really start considering. And I want to just drop this in as well. I want to tell you that you don't have to, as of right now, you don't have to officially live full-time in Mexico to apply for your residency. And they are also, and I'm not going to say every consulate, but most of the consulates will allow you to apply and still have your job, and just as long as you're showing monthly income. Personally, I don't think that makes a lot of sense. Because what I do now, what I'm making now and working now doesn't mean what I'm going to get later. But I know people who are still working, and all they had to do is show, hey, this is how much I make every month. This is what I'm doing. They haven't officially quit or retired yet. They haven't officially moved. So I wasn't aware that this was even an option. This was something that I learned from one of our immigration specialists that we use for our relocation tours, and that could change. So if you're in a job right now and you don't see yourself retiring for another 1, 2, or 3 years, but you say, oh, I'm planning to move to Mexico, you can apply now. You can do it now. So if you want to do like a tour sooner, or you just want to, come down and try to, go it alone and figure things out, do it. Because if you know for sure you're going to be coming, then I say the sooner you apply and get your residency done, the better. Okay, so that was some free info for you. Yes, so let's get into the topic. I hope I didn't miss anything. If you have any questions, you can certainly jump in. I think April, yes, that's a good point, but I think that's for someone who is kind of considered like a digital nomad. But yeah, I mean, I would think the consulates would kind of wise up on, people just getting the residency going back and then coming back at a later date. Because if the qualification is that I need to have X amount of income coming in every month, when I quit, I'm not going to necessarily have that. The thing is Mexico just doesn't want a bunch of foreigners to become a burden on their system, right? It's kind of the same thought process. The US, they don't want to incur a bunch of people that are illegals on their system. So, and I say system meaning their healthcare, I don't know if they, I guess they have some kind of government assistant, but it doesn't apply if you're not a citizen of Mexico. But, the healthcare system could get overloaded with, like the public healthcare system and things like that could get overloaded with people that, can't afford it. And every little bit that's taken out of someone else's pocket for, the locals can become a burden. So, yeah, so that's pretty much, what I wanted to touch on in that regard. I hope I'm not missing anything. So in regard to this weekend, and today's going to be really and truly, it's going to be kind of an overview of the things to consider when starting a business. Clearly what exactly the costs are going to depend on what kind of business you have, where you are in Mexico. This is just like the things to consider. The more in-depth things will be covered in this weekend's conversation. So again, the idea for tonight is to continue to promote this weekend and what my talk is about and what we're trying to bring to the table in regard to, those who are not moving abroad to just retire and, be volunteers and socialize and all the things that are amazing and fabulous, all the things the fabulous ladies do. We do them too, but this is kind of for those who, even if you are retired and you want to keep working, you want to start something, you want to do your own thing, this is to kind of guide you through the step. First, I want to say too that it can feel daunting, but it's not as daunting as it seems. In my honest opinion, I feel that it's a little bit less red tape, but maybe more, I don't know if these are the same things, more bureaucracy, more confusion. I think, one, because of the language. So it's important to try to learn the language. And two, it's important to get someone in your corner or multiple people in your corner who either have the experience or have the know-how to get you where you need to get to. And I'm saying that because since I've had this business, I've realized that, one, my Spanish has gotten way better because I've had to communicate, right? And living in San Miguel, it's a little bit of a crutch because a lot of people speak English, but I've had to communicate with a lot of vendors, people that work for me. I usually say with me, that don't speak any English. I do have some that do. I tend to lean towards the contractors that help us here at the house, the ones that do speak English, because just like with the doctor, I kind of want to understand everything in details. I will say that I have a lot of experience in working with contractors here in Mexico, because in my past chapters from before, I actually built a house in Oaxaca on the beach, and with my ex, and my first one, and whom I'm still great friends with, by the way. And it was a 3-year process, so I was able to really learn a lot about how they work, because we also built houses in the United States. And so here in Mexico, it gave me experience that fast forward to now, that I realized, you really have to be there and be a part of the process. You really have to just be present, like it's important to be present for anything you're doing. So some of the things that you can incur cost on will be fixing something if you don't put your thumb and your foot in it. And I'm telling you that it sounds funny, but it's the truth. And I know it's similar in the United States, but here even more important. And I'll tell you one reason that I think is why is there are a lot of very talented and skilled individuals here that one, they don't speak English, but they're used to working on maybe a different level of a house, or I don't want this to sound belittling in any way, but what I find here is people build their house a little bit at a time, because they're building it according to the income that they have, and they'll have it kind of not say almost done, they're building like, okay, we did the frame and it takes a few more months. Okay, we're now going up to the second floor, and it takes so it's not like us where we typically will have like a continuous building process. And sometimes people will just live in their house until it's enclosed and it's ready and it's better. It sometimes can take them years to kind of get it to where they want to get to. There are a lot of homes that people live in, and you can clearly see that it's not finished in its entirety, but that's kind of the thought process. So one of the things I learned in this whole building thing was that, because I would get a little frustrated, not now, but before. I'd say, like, this is just common sense. It's common sense to me, but it wasn't common sense to them, because maybe they never built that type of home before, or they never had to follow like a very specific blueprint type of thing. So in saying that, if you do have a business abroad, it's something to consider if you are going to remodel this space, to fix the space up, because that's common, right? We do that in the United States. So some of the things that I think are really important, these are overviews. I'm just bullet pointing, and we'll again get into deep details on the weekend. Is what do you want to do? What's your idea? That's on you, clearly. Does it need a space? I think that I'm talking to the things that need a space. Tracy's talking to the things that are online. But the places that need a space, whether it's you turning your home, like I did mine, into a guest house space, turning it into part of it, maybe, I don't know, a bakery. It could be an event space. It could be a salon. What I find in Mexico is they definitely allow a lot more freedom. There's a lot more, freedom to breathe life into an idea. And I can appreciate that so much, because I do think in the United States, there are a lot of people with great ideas, but if you need an actual official commercial space, you may not have the money for that, right? When I lived in the US, I had a concept at one point, and I remember I got all the way down to saying, well, maybe I'm just going to do a food truck, because trying to get an actual space, I think just to get it off the ground was like 75,000 US dollars, the permits, the putting in all the code related equipment, adding like the exhaust hood. I mean, just that alone was crazy expensive. And I thought, all these places have concepts and ideas, and you either are going to go into super deep debt trying to get it off the ground, or you're going to blow your budget trying to get it off the ground. And I find that here, you don't really need to do that. I think it's still important to follow your own safety things, really look into what is required, make sure you get help, and what are the costs involved. I feel that getting space here is not as complicated, even a commercial space. I've seen a lot of people get commercial spaces. The requirements are not going to be as stringent. You still have to go through the right things. So the costs are not going to be crazy absorbent because, and it depends on what you're doing. Like if you're really trying to open like some massive place like, car plant, I can't help you with that. You gotta get an attorney. And I even recommend getting an attorney, getting a local attorney, getting an accountant. So accountants are the ones that really will help you kind of get yourself established and set up. An attorney is going to help you stay out of trouble. If someone's, kind of bothering you, harassing you on your neighborhood, your street, or whatever, you're going to want to have someone that you can really communicate with. So make sure your attorney is not only good, but that you can communicate with them if you're not fluent in Spanish. So I just want to say, like, those are like some of the things that I find easier here. And the cost all kind of somewhat depend on what type of business it is. You could even possibly, like, for example, quite a few years ago, I was interested in doing vegan cooking classes. And, it was a lot of word of mouth. Someone said, oh, this person has a hotel with a restaurant area downstairs, and maybe they'll let you just rent it out, like once or twice a week, and you can do your classes. And I was like, oh, that would be kind of cool. It was the idea of like, a commercial kitchen at a church, but it was in a hotel, and the first floor used to be a restaurant, but no one was there. And anyway, it was simple because I met with the lady, the owner, and she was very cool, and she was kind of like, yeah, we started talking, and I thought maybe I would do a restaurant. They had like some of the stuff, but then I decided it didn't make sense financially for me, and it wasn't where I was. I was just curious about doing a class. Or teaching a class, I should say. So I kind of got away from that, but it's easier, and again, because it was like from one person to the other to her, and then next thing you know, I'm like putting the whole like plan together and everything. That I kind of sat back. I was like, that's not really what I want to do. I'm only interested in these things, and so on and so forth. But I just want to kind of like share that it's not like over the top difficult. Other things cost to consider would be remodeling, as I said, really thinking it through, not just thinking through like, okay, I got the space and, this is how much, let's say if it's commercial, a strip of, places that are for rent, because they do have a lot of warehouses and things like that where you can rent a space and customize it. I see that a lot here. They're building more and more of them, but it's not just like, oh, okay, I got this. It's like, what are they paying for? What are you paying for? What do you want to add? How much does it all cost? To me, it's still, again, it's more affordable, but it's like, well, how much is it going to be for a contractor? How much is that person charging me? Are they going to run into a bunch of snags that are going to end up tripling my cost? Really, how do you contain that word of mouth, finding people that have worked on other jobs, and maybe even just having them do a smaller portion to see what's the relationship like. I had to fix some things here, and the first person was kind of like, oh, I'm coming to check it out. It wasn't a lot for them to come, and it was an emergency situation. I was like, okay, cool. That cost me about $30. And it was just like come and seeing what's the problem. Oh, we can't fix it, but got to pay for that. Okay. And then the next person was like, okay, the company is going to come and check it on the street side. Okay, they came. They were like, oh, you need to hire someone to redo ABC. Okay, so then, this person, so I'm like, okay, that's cool. Then I pay that person, and then a couple weeks later, I still have a problem. And then I get someone different, and it's like, it took literally like 2 months or something like this to really get it fixed. And I'm still here kind of like hanging in the wind to see. So far, we're doing okay. But it costs money, and it's like all of the little things in between. What I find is a lot of people here culturally don't want to say they can't do something. So sometimes you really just have to say the things. Like, like one guy was supposed to do something for me, and I kind of just was really like, I was like a hawk, an eagle. I was just like, listen, I was like, I don't want to hear anything else about this. You better, like, if you can't do this job, you need to say it right now, la, 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 la. And then he literally just did not show up. I don't know if he was offended because I didn't know he was upset and whatever. I don't know, whatever. I think it was just, but I said, I would rather him bail out and me find the right person than to spend more money, because I had already spent money, and then here you are, you're back again fixing the same thing. So I want to just say that those are costs to think about. Is, getting in the space is one thing, but what do you have to do and fix in the space? You can definitely find qualified people, and the best way to do that is really and truly is to use the social network that's in that town, that city. I can honestly say, if you're not on Facebook, Facebook is the place to be to get information on any of the expat type groups or even the local groups in town. For example, here, yeah, your boo, that's right, April. He was cute, but not very useful. So there's that. But the groups in town, for example, like in San Miguel, if you type in Facebook San Miguel, you're going to get a bunch of things that will come up, right? Especially if you start looking for things. Those are the best places to get information, okay? So the costs that you need to consider are going to be, do I need to hire someone to do this work? How much is that going to be? And make sure you do your homework, make sure you ask questions, all right? Check around to see what those things look like. You need to prepare yourself for your residency. You want to have a legal business, you got to get your residency, okay? Just saying. Not saying, every single thing. Clearly, if you're working online, it doesn't matter. But if you want to have something that's legal and here and legit, that's a cost. So those are the things you got to think about. You got to think about the cost of maybe getting an accountant to help you, the costs associated with your monthly things, the costs associated with maybe a cleaning person, all the things, right? So, France, no, he was not. Hey, he was useful to look at. He was a little bit of eye candy. But yeah, he pissed me off, so I didn't see him as eye candy anymore. I was just like, He actually bailed, so I was fine with that. So just things like this, what are the materials? I'll tell you another experience that I had. So when I started Casa, it was around the holidays. So this is something to consider. It was around the holidays and Christmas, to be exact. And I was just in such a zone to get everything ready for my guest. Francis was one of them. And I was just like, okay, I got to get this done, got to do this. And I remember I drove over to Dolores Hidalgo, which is about 45 minutes away, but they're known for their ceramics and their pottery and all the things that they offer over there, which are typically really beautiful. Not quite my style, but they have really great places to buy tiles and things like that. And so, I'm kind of just driving along, stopping at the stores as I see them. And I stop at one in particular, and they have the perfect tile. It's those it's like a subway shape, but it's the one that have the stones that look kind of 3D-ish. Yeah, they are 3D-ish. And I was like, oh, and I love the color. It was like, it's perfect. Kind of went with all the things you see behind me. The house is pretty much kind of this very natural, kind of tones and things like that. Well, the guy was like, well, okay, how many, like how many meters do you need? And we were kind of close to ready to go. So the guy remodeling was ready to go. And I told him what they said with a little extra. And he said, okay, give him a deposit. I think it was like, I don't remember exactly, but I want to say I gave him a deposit of about $150, which isn't bad. And he said it would be ready in about a week and a half, all again around Christmas, New Year's, or something like this. And so, we're waiting, I'm kind of like reaching out to him, like, where's the towel, what's happening, da da da. He finally says, look, the person I ordered the towel from, somebody in Mexico City, apparently waltzed away with his money and our deposits. And I was like, okay, what's going to happen now? And I have to say he was very honorable, and he gave me all my money back, my full deposit back. And he also said he had to give other people their deposits back. And, that was kind of it. So he was relying on someone else who was supposed to bring the supply of things. So I was grateful that he was honorable, $150. Yeah, I would have been really pissed and annoyed in the moment, but it wasn't like, full break in my bank. And it was a deposit towards the full amount. It wasn't me giving him the full amount, which I highly recommend that you don't do that. And if you do, I can tell you that as much as it seems like you don't need to have, or it's like things are not contractual here, I think they're more contractual than we think. So kind of having like handwritten things and contractual things are important, because it kind of makes the exchange more serious. If I have to give someone, for example, I had a gentleman that I worked with that did actually end up fixing this issue. It was electrical, they need to rewire some things on the street. And he jumped on the electric company because it was on their side to fix the things. And he was like, whatever. But because I was giving him a portion of the deposit, probably like close to 50% deposit, which I don't normally do, I made him give me a receipt. And this is very common here. It seems a little archaic, but they'll get the little, those little paper, receipt notebooks, and write everything out. And I've had this type of transaction with a lot of people. And yes, Danielle, get a contract, say what it is that they're supposed to do, get their name, get their number, if you want, get their ID, attach everything to the contract, make them sign it. And this is the agreement, you're coming on this day, you're doing this, da da da, especially because it's a very cash society, and you're just there's not necessarily the transaction of a transfer to another account. That is also common, and you can put in there what it's for. But if you're doing like an exchange of cash, just try to do that as much as possible so you don't get burned, because it's annoying. If you lose a lot of money, it's just disheartening. It really can be disgusting and upsetting in so many ways. So those are things to consider. It's like, do I have to fix the space? What kind of deposits are going to be required? It all kind of, in terms of if you're renting a space, it all depends on the landlord, the owner. Is it a commercial space? What things do they need from you? Do they need you to have your residency? Do they need you to have a business bank account? Or not necessarily a business bank account. I feel like that's not as crucial here for kind of like the lower level businesses and things like that. But I think you'll definitely need a bank account, even if it's just personal, right? You need to make sure you get your RFC and your tax ID number and all the things, and you can get help. I say get help mostly because you can figure it out yourself, but you may end up going multiple times before you get it right. just kind of showing up and being like, hey, what do I do? So it's kind of sometimes just worth it to hire legally. I can say that the cost for hiring legal people to help you here is way less than it is in the US, getting an attorney or something like that. It's going to be way more affordable, and discuss that as well. Just because their name says so-and-so attorney, so-and-so, listen, they're just as slippery, okay? Two, is like that opportunity to, be slippery. Not everyone, I'm not talking about everyone, but I'm saying these things because of experience, okay? So, here's the thing, at the end of the day, even if you pay someone and you feel like you overpaid, if they got the job done, they probably saved you money, okay? So those costs can be varying, and it all just depends. You just don't want to deal with the cost of the after if you don't do it right. You don't want to deal with getting fines, and you don't want to deal with issues after. You want to make sure you just, even if it's slow to do or to start, like it took over a year for me to get the right permits and the things I needed. So, and it was expensive, but I did it. And it didn't take over a year because of the cost and the expense for me. It was just a very slow process, like literally, what else can I say about it? The administration that was in place when I went and made my deposit for my permit to have, because they call it like use of the land. When I made my deposit for that, they all got fired. And it was like, oh, this is how we're doing it. And I think it's because there is a lot of corruption and maybe people paying things off. When I say people, not people at my level, but people who have money that trying to push, their big projects and stuff like that. And it is what it is. And I don't know if anybody's watching this and they live here and they're, from Mexico, please don't be mad at me, because it's the truth, right? And I've heard this from the local people, and I'm not bashing it. I'm just saying that don't expect things to move as fast as they do in the United States. Don't expect them to be as easy. And I'm talking about here in San Miguel. Maybe it's faster in Mexico City, in a bigger city, I don't know. But I'm talking about here because this is where I live, and I'm talking about my experiences here in San Miguel. So what kind of made me nervous, and now I've lived through it and I understand it better, was I had to go and put this large sum of money into a city account. And I was kind of like, okay, so I'm paying for something, but I gotta wait. And it took quite a few months for, like every time I would check in with my attorney, like, hey, what's happening? And then he would send me like an article, oh, this whole administration. So I started really feeling very uncomfortable with the whole thing. And I was just like, but eventually it was fine. And eventually, some people showed up and did the things and inspections and all the things, and, and yeah. So it was definitely a huge relief to kind of get through those processes. And then I got this, which was really kind of, again, a little bit backward. I got an extensive list of things that I had to do to get, like, just a checklist. Okay, we need this, 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 this. And I was like, why didn't they send this to me like 5 months ago, right? Why am I getting this now? It's like at the end. But what I realize is doses and doses of patience, and just being, calm, approaching it, realizing like it's just a slower, a bit more archaic. And I think it's archaic because like each piece of the process has to pass through a different person's hand. And I think they do that so they can cut down on fraud and corruption and people, maybe getting paid to slide something through. So just understand that, you have an idea, you can do it. Just, you need to be patient, okay? You got to think about your utilities, which aren't crazy over the top absorbent. Compared to the US, like, having a a home in the United States. I think my utility bills in the US were, I can't remember. I was in Florida, I had AC, but I want to say it was upward of 150, sometimes 175 in the summer per month. And, you know, what do I pay here? I think I pay somewhere around that, but you know, this is like it's a business, it's a bigger space. So, you know, just things to think about. Yes, Danielle, lots of patience. And yes, April, worth every penny. You know, just like I said, stay on top of it. If you do have questions, please let me know. I just realized it's almost 7. I'm always like, blah, 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 blah. I don't even know how I'm going to keep my talk to under an hour on Saturday, because Saturday I'm really going to talk about like contracts, employee contracts that you need to have. I'm going to really talk in depth about the relationships that you need to build. I'm going to talk about the permits that you need to get, the taxes, how it works and things like that, how often you have to pay it, how you can offset, you know, from the United States to here, the things that you need to do, and how do you, you know, handle that? Do you have it incorporated in the US if you're receiving income on that side in US dollars, and how do you balance it over here? There's a lot to know. So, you know, like I said, if you join me, you'll get the talk portion, and on Sunday, you're going to get a whole hour of a Q&A. And then for all of those who I think bought the all access pass, which you will see all the details on the link that's in the chat above. We're going to also, I'm going to be offering, along with the other ladies, but I will also be offering, each of us will be offering a separate offer. Mine will be a 60 to 90 minute group coaching on this. So if you have your idea and your concept, that's also going to be included in your ticket, your all access ticket. So it's really a very comprehensive place for you to get so much information. And, you know, each of us are charging just for our consultations, kind of what you would get for your whole all access pass. Just for one person, you're going to have access to 6 amazing ladies giving talks about various things and a Q&A plus the coaching afterwards. And there will be other offers, you know, like I'm going to be offering business consultations that will be one-on-one. So if you have your business idea and you're just like, you know what, I'm ready to go, I will be able to help you with that. And it's not just me, myself. I will be connecting you with people that will help you get set up properly. So that's going to be like the final thing down the line. But some of the other things to consider are, you know, what are my material costs? What are the permit costs, which I mentioned? I'll tell you this, that the cost went last year up about 15,000 pesos. So there was a huge cost difference that for a permit, it kind of went from about 500 or 600 US to about 3,000. And this is annually. So, you know, and also you got to consider the dollar exchange. So these are just things to think about, you know, when you think you want to start something, you want to get a building, like really, just as you would do your homework in the United States, you to do it here. I could say it's definitely more affordable here, but it still could cost a lot here. So you really want to make sure that you are putting in the work and you have a cushion, right? You're not just like, okay, I got this amount to cover my rent. Those are just things. You need to hire someone for legal assistance, you know, and sometimes those numbers can be a little bit fictitious, like, you know, depends on who you are. You might pay this much and you may pay this much. But I think, again, if you have some local people in your corner, ask them to ask the questions, right? Even if you have to Google Translate it, say to them, you know, can you contact this place, or ask them, how much do you think this should be? Or have you done any remodeling? What would the labor cost for you? And again, you know, we can't just have, oh, I'm sorry, Ingrid, I just wanted to acknowledge you. I hope you're still on. So sorry. I just realized I saw the heart sparkles on the screen. Yes, I think Ingrid's in Jamaica. Anyway, thing that, I was gonna say about like someone working for you, doing things for you. I've had people who first time working for me, they're like, what should I ask her to pay? And I'm kind of like, name a price. I always say be fair and make sure you, pay well, find out what that looks like, ask people, doesn't mean you got to be all over the top, but also don't be grimy. If someone does really good work for you, be fair with them, right? Think about, okay, yes, I'm not going to pay what I paid in the United States, but, think about the quality of work and maybe relationship building that you want to have with that person. If you're happy with them, just try to be fair, be fair with them. They are very loyal here. They'll stick with you. Just things like this. Consider your monthly costs, domestic help, your one-time costs, like materials and things like that, replacing something. If you have, like for me, I have a guest house, so it's like, yeah, okay, I have to put sheets and covers and pillows and blah, blah, blah. This is in the beginning, on 7 beds, right? And I need the pillows, and I need curtains, and then I need rods, and I need this, and I need that. It's like cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. Think about all these things, right? I didn't quite think about it, so I'm talking from experience, but it's easy to blow a budget. It's so easy to blow a budget, okay? So think about all the things. What are all the things that you have to do? And make a good, solid list and be organized and don't try to find a bargain for everything. Like the bargain in all countries probably is going to bring you problems. Whatever that is, whether it's bargain furniture, you can get lucky sometimes. And I feel like here, the carpenter type furniture is already inexpensive, but check the quality of things, make sure it's okay. So things like that. So it's just one of those deals where I think you just really have all of those costs to think about. Get your bank account. You can get a bank account when you get your residency. So if you want to do a business here, guess what? You need to get your residency. So you got to start with that as well. And probably in other countries, our Redefining Life Abroad is to help people redefine their life, any country that they are interested in moving to. But these are all the things that you could say, I have this great idea and I want to, move to Mexico and I want to do this, right? For example, and I need to connect with this person. There are 2 people, I think 2 Black people that I know of so far that have opened restaurants in Mexico City. Well, one that I'm most interested in is a Jamaican restaurant, and I think it's awesome. And I'm like, I want to go there, I want to eat there, I want to check it out, I really want to know, like, what was it for them to open an actual restaurant space? What was it for the lady who's doing the southern food? What was it to open? So find people like that and ask the questions, pay them for their time. Their time is valuable. Pay people for their time. You need help from me. Be willing to pay for the time. If you're not, be willing to put the time in yourself. That's okay too. If you don't have it and you're on the budget, but you have to think, like, what is my business and who can I talk to? I did the same. When I knew I wanted to do something like this, I reached out to several people. I reached out to Suki in Oaxaca. I think I talked to Patricia and Tally in Zihuatanejo because she's been here for a long time and she's, been in the whole business world. I spoke to Stephanie. She had a, Black owned as well. She had a business. It wasn't exactly this, but she had a business. She had insight. I reached out to a lady in Morelia, which is about 2 or 3 hours away. She had a hotel and she gave me the best advice. And we talked on the phone. I said, hey, I don't mind paying you for a time. She said, no, I'll just talk to you, whatever. And, I got a lot of insight. So the point is that, you can get paid help. It's worth paying somebody to help you, especially if they're specializing in that. They're going to come with the resources and all the things. Even like I said, this weekend will give you so much about redefining not just my topic, but about other topics. And in addition to that, people that are doing what you do. ask them, like, who's your accountant, who's this, who's that, get all the stuff, get the information. It's definitely out there for you, and be willing to invest in yourself. If you're willing to invest in having a business, be willing to invest in getting the help for your business, okay? So that's my spiel for the night. I'm going to wrap it up because I have so many things to do. But if you have any questions, you still have a few seconds to drop them in the chat. And yes, again, join us this weekend, August 10th and 11th for Redefining Life Abroad. It will also be on the replay. And if you can't make this, just keep tuning in on Wednesday nights to my live. There's always so much information here. I'm not sure if I'm going to be on next week because I have a Spanish immersion group coming. I'm so excited. Like, this is something I've wanted to do or be a part of, even for myself, since college in the late 80s, early 90s. And I was talking to one of the ladies today that visited me, and, it was one of those deals where I was telling her that I always wanted to be a foreign exchange student, and there was no one in my life that did this or ever did it before. And, so to be able to host people that are coming here just to practice Spanish and be fully immersed, I'm super excited about it. Hi, Virginia. I encourage you to take building maintenance. Yeah, definitely. Learning the house maintains your building. And yeah, if you're gonna have a business here, it's a good idea. When I was in Florida, that was my business. I was a property service company, and that's what I did. I had contractors working for me. I had clients who had huge portfolios of homes that were for rent. One of my clients had like 183 houses in her portfolio, and we basically were the boots to the ground company that went in and did turnovers. So I learned a lot. I learned how to fix holes, how to change locks, how to hang blinds, how to use tools. It was awesome. I am a power drill. I love tools, just saying. Love painting. I had like the electric painters and all the things. I was like, you would see me at the end of the day, I was so dirty and painted over, but I loved my job. So welcome. Yes, I'm about to end, but feel free to watch me on the replay. I appreciate you coming through. I was just saying that we have our Redefining Your Life Abroad Summit, which is this weekend. And that is going to be on the 10th and 11th. And my topic is going to be about having and opening a brick and mortar in Mexico, and all the things that I kind of did a quick overview of some of the costs, but I will be talking about the requirements, the contracts, and all of the things that basically people need to know and should know, how they get their FEIN numbers, how do they start their bank accounts, what's required, who you should hire, and all the things that really are there to help you basically have a successful start, and just things that people may not know that I think are really important, for them to know. And that's going to be my talk, really giving you the details. And then we will have a Q&A session on Sunday, which will allow people to come in, because I'm going to be very focused on Saturday, bullet points and things like that. So I'm not going to necessarily focus on the questions like tonight, it's a little more laid back. But on Sunday, there will be a Q&A just for that specifically. It will give you all time to digest what was shared and then come with your questions. And then after, we will also have a group coaching session. Each of us are going to have something of a group coaching type session that will help anyone who's interested in opening their own business or any of the other topics. So definitely check it out. Let's see here. I'm just trying to get this again. 1 second, hang tight. Because every time I'm looking for the things I need. Here we go. Okay, so here's the link again for this weekend in case any of you that just came on later and would like to have it. Hi Val, having a guest house is a fantastic. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. There's so many things to offer. As I said earlier in the conversation, I had 3 ladies that were from Lake Chapala. They were here, and they also have a guest house space. They're, I think, been open for about 6 or 7 months, and they're doing like a residency for artists. I think they're also offering relocation tours and things. And, it's like, again, like I said, someone has helped me and I help. So we need to just kind of be cognizant of that and also be willing to pay for someone's expertise, not just that, but, like they offered for me to come to Lake Chapala, they would give me a night for free and vice versa. So they came, they took advantage of their free night and they paid for a night. That was an offer that they gave to me and I said, sure. They were here for 3 days, 2 nights and 3 days. And, it was nice speaking to them because they were so appreciative of the fact that, I already have the experience that they can bounce off of. And, we had nice conversations around that and how, what has worked for me. So the point is that, all of the things that a lot of us are putting together are based on our personal experiences. And yes, on this forum, we are offering a whole weekend of expertise. And all of the ladies on this summit are living in Mexico. So this is not us just talking about something that we don't have experience with. I live here. I've been here for 6 years. The other 5 ladies have been here for a minimum, I believe, of at least a year or 6 months or a year, and they live here full time. So we're all coming with our different things, our different talks that are really here to help you live a new life, a new chapter, if that's what you desire to do. If you're already in Mexico, it's also great because it gives you ideas. Like Alan is going to be talking about how to get government contracts and things like that. Dee's going to be talking about finances. Danielle's going to be talking about the family dynamics. Tracy's going to be talking about doing digital work and business online. Bobby's going to be talking about if you have a relationship, the things that you need to think about. She's going to be talking about real estate and things like this. I'm going to be talking about starting your own business and being an entrepreneur in Mexico. What's that like? And even how do you gain the respect as a female? That's part of my topic. I think that's important. And this is not just Mexico. This is also in the United States. I'm grateful that people always say, oh, you look so young. I'm not that young. I'm grateful to look young, but I can tell you that looking young has not always given me the respect initially. And, I think it can be somewhat a little challenging here as well. If people kind of think, oh, you look X amount of age, and for whatever reason, when you're a female, that somehow kicks you down a step or two from getting the respect you might need having a business. So I think it's important to really establish those types of things with the people, the right people, gain the respect, make sure you're honest, pay people on time and all the things. So I'll be talking about all of that this weekend. So join us. And that's it. I'm done because I'm tired. So thank you all for being here tonight. I don't think I'm going to do a live next Wednesday because I'll have a group, but I'll be back the following week. But I will post something. If it's not my live, it will be a recorded session, maybe a wrap up about the weekend and everything else that is coming up. I'll also include that as well. All right, so have a fabulous rest of your Wednesday. Thank you for joining. Please hit the like button for all the new people that got on, for anyone who's lurking in the background. Make sure you hit subscribe if it's your first time here. I also will be featuring more and more of talking to Mexicans and I would say Afro-Americans, Mexican Americans that are interested in returning back to your ancestors' land, okay? We're going to touch more on this in the future. And yeah, yes, exactly. Hope to see you all at the summit. Please feel free to click on these links to find out way more details and the cost and how long it's going to have replay. I believe it's until November, I believe. So thank you, Danielle. Thanks for everyone who joined tonight. I really appreciate you all for showing up on a regular basis. Have a good night. Ciao. Why do you do